Tonight, we ask all the important questions. When in June, Jessica Jones? Does Jazz really kill Cloak and Dagger? Was that the stupidest storyline ever in the history of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And hey, what about Captain Marvel and her toxic femininity? Marvel TV Weekly starts now!
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yes, indeed. It is Sunday at 9:13 p.m. Pacific time. I'm Christian Bladt. It must be Xia Anderson.
It is me. Hello.
And it must be Marvel TV Weekly.
It is. I'm
It's
pretty
time.
sure, right?
Sundays.
It is time.
Yeah.
9:13. That was very specific.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's 9 o'clock, but that's a lie.
You're right. It is
That's
a lie.
such a lie. And I think that we need honesty with our audience.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we've always done with this show is we'll always tell people what we like.
Uh-huh.
And Xia, we will always tell them what we don't like.
Uh-huh.
And you heard me tease it in the beginning. There's something I really didn't like this week that I'm very interested in talking about.
Boy, am I with you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think you might disagree for once, but we'll see. Anyway,
a different thing.
a different thing. Oh,
there are two things.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's two things.
You guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of dislike and discord and disarray and despair. I'm very proud of myself.
That was good.
So let's go with the newsy news first, right up at the top. It's only like half news because Jessica Jones, season 3, sometime in June.
It's coming out. We just don't know exactly
And you got to
when.
figure it's going to be a Friday. Netflix shows don't always come out on Friday, but they usually come out on Friday.
Maybe Thursday?
Yeah, well, like Thursday night,
Yeah.
midnight, whatever. But it's like Friday morning at midnight. So, it's like I'm going to say that June 1st is a Saturday. So I'm like, all right, the earliest it'll be is June 7th. Is it going to come out the same day as Dark Phoenix? Maybe. I don't know. But if I had to pick, I'm going to pick June 21st.
Okay.
Because that's like the first day of summer.
I'm going to pick June 12th.
Okay, but that's so it would be
Opposite of
it
21st?
would be the 14th. Because you just picked
14th.
you just picked a Wednesday.
How do you know what the days are? I'm just picking
Because I know
random days.
what day Dark Phoenix comes out, and it's the 7th, and I know there's 7 days in a week, so I can add 7 and 7 and 7. 7 and 7 is. Thank you, Ryan.
I didn't. I'm not even. I feel really dumb.
Well, is this time to do our full episode on public schools in Hawaii, or should we save that for another week?
We'll save that for another week.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, we're on
time.
the bottom of the list, guys.
So very excited to see the final chapter in Marvel's Netflix tale, basically Netflix's Marvel tale. But Xia, I know that you still have not seen Jessica Jones season 2.
I haven't yet.
You gonna skip it and go to 3, or what are you gonna do?
I'm thinking about it. Because I know it's.
I can't
13.
sit here by myself without you watching it.
I know, but it's 13 episodes, and the first season kind of dragged for me. The reason I loved it so much was because of David Tennant.
He's in one episode in season 2. All
I know.
right?
I could watch it
and
for
it's
just
not
the one episode.
It's not the first one either, so you'll have to get pretty far in to get to it.
To actually get to
Yeah.
it. Is it just a flashback?
I don't want to tell you. Let me. Oh, you know what? Here's what I will tell you. It's not a flashback.
It's
but I'm
not?
not going to tell you more than that.
Is he a corpse?
Yes, he
A
just lays
reanimated
there.
corpse?
He just lays there dead. Yeah.
No, I really should. I know I really should watch it.
Because look, Cloak and Dagger will be over by then, and my thinking is it's going to come back before Legion. So there's going to be those weeks in the middle of June where that's all we have to talk about. And if you haven't seen it, I'm like, all right, well, now's my turn to talk about Jessica Jones 3. And
Christian's time to shine.
yeah, well, finally. How long have I been doing this darn show? But so I can't even ask you if you're excited because you didn't watch season 2. But you have to like the character of Jessica.
No, I do. I
Yeah.
really do like Jessica Jones.
Because Kristen Ritter seems like your kind of gal.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the whole attitude. No,
Yeah.
I like the character, and I didn't dislike the show. I did like it. For some reason, the pacing was a little bit slow for me, so I had kind of a hard time getting through it. I'm gonna watch season 2. I am. I keep saying I'm not, but I'm going to. I started the first episode.
And in the chat, Eric James says, can't get excited for Jessica Jones knowing it's canceled. But see, here's the thing. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was essentially canceled after Endgame. So we all went to see it. You know, there were a lot of things that got canceled in that movie. But I know what you mean. I do understand that feeling. Look, I've had I've had shows that pile up in my DVR, and then I'll hear that it gets canceled. And even if it was a show I kind of liked, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. I'm just like, I'm out. It's like, I don't want to invest the time into that. But this one, I mean, I know it's a complete season, it's a full story, and it's the last of these Netflix shows. And, by the way, once we get into August, I got to really think about Netflix for a minute. I'm like, do I really need it? There's so many streaming services I do need.
Yeah.
So you'll have Stranger Things season 3 in early July. So I'm just like, I think after that, I might be good on Netflix for a little while.
So basically, Netflix is going the way of HBO now that Game of Thrones is done. Everyone's like, okay, we're good. You don't have Marvel content anymore. You don't have Game of Thrones. We're out.
Yeah, I don't know. But look, I understand what people are saying. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to bully Xia just verbally. Into watching it.
So he says, guys.
Lots of texts. I'll be like, what are you doing? And you'll talk about something else you're watching. I'm like, and then you're going to watch Jessica Jones season 2. And you're like, ugh, fine.
He is actually going to do that. That's the thing. I know this is going to happen.
This happens.
Rory Fansler in the chat, which I know I said this before, but welcome back, Rory.
Where did Rory go?
He's been gone for a while. I think he said he was writing. If I remember correctly, he was writing something.
Xia will read it and let you know what she thinks.
Yeah, I'll read it. He says, agreed, good show, but not one to binge watch. So maybe I'll slowly try one episode a day.
I would do that.
I think I can do
it's
that.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that.
That's not binge watching.
Because, look, it's going to be more than 13 days before, at least that's my prediction.
Yeah. And Star Drew says he's looking forward to it, I think. That's what he's referring to. And Haywood Wong says, Netflix says they have Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the movie. I mean, if I want that, you
can just buy it.
I can just buy the movie.
That's true.
I'm not going to need it. I mean, I'll be fine. That's on my wish list for Father's Day. So maybe I'll get it if my kids decide they love me. But anyway, that's probably not going to happen. Anyway, so thank you. So we will keep you posted when we have a date. We will let you know a date for Jessica Jones season 3. So there's some other fun things to talk about. Xia and I have been in agreement on Cloak and Dagger the last few weeks. It's been on an upswing, and I don't think that season 2, episode 9 was bad, but it was just a lot of like, all right, we're going to advance the story a fraction because the finale is really where it's at. And look, a lot of times TV shows, they do that for budget reasons.
Right.
They do that, so it's like, we need a lot of cloak effects in episode 10.
Yeah.
It was interesting. We got some interesting backstory. But the most important thing that we did get from here and the way that they're setting up the season finale is something that I think we all should have known for years, Xia. And we were talking about this on Twitter last night. Jazz kills. So obviously we should keep Jazz out of our life, correct?
Look, I've been saying that for as long as I've worked at my job because they play Jazz there, and I've never hated Jazz more in my life. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be what drives me crazy.
Yeah, well.
And then I'll,
Well, you know what? Maybe you're going to open your own little record shop in your head, and you're going to be like Mayhem, bashing all the jazz records,
smashing jazz records. Yeah. I mean, when I finally leave this job, I'm just going to set jazz records on fire as part of, it does. Jazz is not the music of choice for people in this show.
Yeah. I did think it was interesting that we got to see backstory of Andre / Despair, and sort of the genesis of his relationship with Leah, which is, I know we're not supposed to feel bad for her, but even Tandy says that she's a victim too. Now, what she did with her victimhood, sure, she successfully pimped out a bunch of girls and tried to pimp out an official Marvel superhero trademark. Right there after I say Marvel superhero, a little trademark popped up.
TM.
So, yeah, exactly. So, but I think it's interesting to see, and I don't know, I mean, maybe you don't find her, well, let me ask you, do you find her any more sympathetic, seeing how it started where she was a nurse and the guy just touches her hand and is like, oh my God, I can feast on all your pain and suffering?
A little bit.
Because that Leah hadn't done anything wrong yet.
She hadn't. It was a very, very small amount. But I'm 100% with Mayhem on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had a hard life, but that doesn't make it okay. It doesn't excuse all the bad stuff you've done, period.
Right.
Like she said, I'm just like, I agree. So I don't care what you've been through. If you're self-destructive, then I really do feel for you. If you're hurting other people, I don't care. I don't care what you've been through. You're a trash person.
Right. And I think that obviously it's really wrapped up in her relationship, confusing as it is, with Andre, is that she feels like she needs to do this to please him, but also she's clearly like scared of him. You know, it's sort of a dual thing. But yes, it doesn't excuse her behavior, but I think you can still feel like, oh, she's terrible. But the circumstances that brought her into being a terrible person is something that I can just see and be like, oh, that's just awful. You know, it's easier to. It was already pretty easy to dislike him, but
yeah, I mean, he definitely is a master manipulator, and he used the fact that she didn't want to be a doctor, she didn't want to be in medicine, and he knew that because obviously he felt her despair.
Yeah,
and he used that against her. He used that to manipulate her, and he did a really, really good job of it. But it sucks that A, she was so easily manipulated, and B, just what she chose to do with it.
Yeah, and I think that the horror of watching the two of them gleefully open their support group, and in the montage with like all the records like filling up his record store, like, oh my God, look at all my pain,
God.
And you're just like, okay, just in case you forgot that he's terrible. So I think that getting to understand that better is good, and then sort of seeing the early stages of his plan in action, which is to kill everyone in New Orleans with jazz music. Which, look, if you've been to New Orleans, and by the way, I'm going to be there next weekend, so I'm a little worried.
Take some pictures. You're a little bit worried.
I'm going to take some pictures. Yeah, I will. Maybe we'll even show some on the show. Maybe I'll take the Cloak and Dagger walking tour of New Orleans.
That'd be great.
I bet they don't have one, but it's like, where's Ty's house?
Yeah.
Where's Tandy's church?
The church.
Where's any of that stuff?
Now it's Ty's church, really.
That's true. It's a good point. So, yeah. Anyway, so it's hard to get away from jazz music there is my point.
It is. But it's funny, too, because I don't think a lot of people in the chat agree with us on jazz. I think that a lot of people like jazz. Rory says, boo, love jazz. Eric James says, jazz is awesome. Ghost says, without jazz, no funk music. I mean,
look, I could live without funk music. As much as I love George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars, Parliament Funkadelic. I wish this was the old days when we could still play music on these shows.
I know.
We could have a dance party on the way out to a little flashlight or something. But anyway, it's just you can understand that something takes artistic talent and still like not enjoy it.
Yeah, I understand that it's and I understand why people like it. I just personally I don't. It's not for me. There's also a really good question in here. I just like it from Star Drew. Who can boop and hit better, Nightcrawler or Tyrone? I'm gonna say Nightcrawler.
Because Nightcrawler
so
is
fast.
basically he's a trained acrobat.
Yeah.
He was in the circus. And so he has that skill set for a long time. I'd like to see them fight each other that way.
That'd be great.
Right?
That'd be
Although
really
then
fun.
Cloak will just be like, all right, Nightcrawler. And then,
Just engulf him.
Nightcrawler's like, all of a sudden he's in some record shop and he doesn't understand how he got there.
He's like, what is this?
Why is there no Kraftwerk? That was terrible. Didn't
That
even
was
sound like
way
him.
better than mine.
Yeah. Anyway, and of course, when we talk about Cloak and Dagger, we're of course thinking of Alan Cumming, not sorry, new kid who's Nightcrawler.
I do love Alan Cumming.
Yeah, he was great.
So good.
Just in general. But anyway, so that was a great question. I love those side questions.
I know, that was a good one.
So, some shows might feel like that would derail the show and get you off on a tangent, but I love stuff like that, so keep those coming. But all right, so look, we can disagree on jazz, but we can probably all agree that Andre's a bad dude, and he's got to, he just. And then it's like, I just want to hit that blue note. I'm like, wait a minute. So you just want to get a note and then feast on everybody's pain? Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, you're just really annoying.
Yeah.
And
he's just a trash person.
Yeah, which, again, if anybody knows about trash people,
it's me.
But we have to talk about a very important moment in this show.
Yeah.
Ty reading the newspaper about Luke Cage, written by Karen Page.
Yeah,
And I was just like, this is great.
I loved that.
You
That
know?
was awesome.
I like, and I was just like, great. I just want to get reminders that they're in that universe. And there have been a lot of, Luke Cage in particular is where there have been references on this show.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that the world still exists, even though we won't get to visit it again for some
a
time.
long time.
Yeah,
And it's probably not going to be the same characters. And I've fallen in love. I mean, not characters.
The same actors, though,
is
yeah.
what I'm saying. And I've fallen in love with these actors. So.
yeah, that's true.
too.
What's Turk gonna do?
I know we need Turk. Why won't they just have Turk pop up in like Cloak and Dagger just
Right.
for one episode?
Don't even. And
please?
it's like because he was created for a Netflix show, you can't call him Turk. Just don't call him anything.
Just don't call him anything.
Yeah.
He's just the shady guy that's doing some shady stuff.
Yeah. Look, there's ways around all of that. You want to talk about your tangents? The Marvel character Quasar, who ended up being in the Avengers. There was an episode an issue of the comic book series that was all of the fastest characters in the Marvel universe in a race to see who's the fastest. I don't remember why they did it. Somebody, some super powerful deity made it happen, and rightly so. Telling the story. You can't honestly do who's the fastest without having the Flash in it.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a DC character.
Yeah.
So they had this guy who woke up, his costume was all torn, couldn't remember who he was, but you're like, oh, hey, that's the Flash. That's awesome. And he
love
ran
that.
and didn't win. So,
What?
well, hey, arguably Superman's faster than the Flash. So, but anyway. That's neither here nor there. So that's my point, though. You can use these characters. Don't even call him Luke Cage. Just be like, hey, big man. Don't call him anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just put him in there.
Yeah. Oh, my. Yeah, Sweet Christmas. Exactly.
Just do that.
Yeah.
Just give us a sweet
Yeah,
Christmas.
just says Sweet Christmas. We don't even say his
so
name.
good.
Anyway, so I get very excited about those things, and I thought that this was a decent episode, but it really just was like, oh, we're just totally spinning our wheels waiting for the next one.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It felt like a filler.
Yeah, but that's all right. I think next week the season finale will be good, and we will make a very special announcement about next week's show, this show. So stay tuned all the way to the end. Don't dive out just because it's 12:30 on the East Coast. It's a 3-day weekend. Come on. You can stay up with us.
Yeah.
Let us know any thoughts on Cloak and Dagger. Are there any comments on Cloak and Dagger before we move on?
Yeah, Jenna James says, I just hope that that is a backdoor to introducing Mr. Jip. Like he would be.
Agreed.
Yeah, I want that for next season.
And I love that we had Mayhem
in.
Yeah, I thought that too. I love how we had Mayhem introduced like in the kind of like, I don't know, post credits, mid credits of the end of season 1. And if I really thought we were getting Mr. Jip this season, and the fact that we didn't, I think it's fine because we got another great villain. So
yeah, Despair is great, and I love that they also have Mayhem in there.
Yeah.
And I find myself siding with Mayhem quite a bit. I don't agree with all of her methods, but
No.
there are times when I'm like, I was almost ready for her to kill Leah. I was.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Well, she was
makes
gonna do
me
it.
so mad. Sarger says, who was Storm's speedster son?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't
I'm
either.
sorry. I do have a bit of a Swiss cheese knowledge when it comes to Marvel. There's a point of basically the demarcation for me is about the 21st century. I know some things, but like once you get to 2000, I don't know nearly as much as I did. And it's like from before I read comics, I know a lot because I've read back issues and reprints and things because I started reading comics about 1983. But I know a lot of like early Marvel history, but that's the period I know the most. And then when I stopped reading, I just stopped keeping up on it. So I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry, Star Drew. But as they say, Google is your friend. All right, so we're going to transition now to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the thing about fans of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, and I consider myself to be one, thank you very much. I am a fan of this show.
Must clarify.
Even when I have felt like it's lost its way a little bit, I've always stuck with it, come back to it. And I feel on the whole, it is a great show, and I do really like this show. But people, when you talk about this show and you say you don't like something about it, they are ready to fight you in the streets. And I love that kind of passion. But just because of that, I'm not going to avoid the fact when I just thought something just did not work for me. And we saw some of that in Friday night's episode. But first, Zia, don't you have an important message for each and every one of us in the chat?
I I do. We just want to say here at AfterBuzz, here on this show, thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. For us to continue to grow, we could use your help. Basically, you just have to hit a bunch of buttons. It's like super easy. You just hit like, you hit subscribe. On iTunes, you hit the 5-star rating. Leave us a comment. We love talking to you guys in chat. You guys are so much fun, and you're here every week. It's awesome. And it makes it fun for us to do the show because we get to talk about it. We get to talk about it with you. You watching us allows us to be here to talk about it. So really just thanks for supporting us and doing what we love here.
Thank you. And Xia, your overall thoughts on the whole about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, Episode 3. That was Friday night's episode.
So we flip-flop now. I feel like it's usually me not liking stuff and you. I liked it. First of all, there was a Harry Potter reference in there. And
I knew you would like that.
boy, did I friggin' geek out on that. That was great. I was like, oh my God, they're bringing Harry Potter into this.
By the way, in a past season, Gemma, as in Simmons, has talked about how she really wants a TARDIS. So, just to point out that she's your girl. Yeah.
I knew it. I knew there was a reason I liked her. I thought it was really funny. I liked it. I enjoyed the whole they accidentally took drugs aspect of it. I know that's what you didn't like.
Well, yeah, now you're letting everyone know exactly what it is that I didn't like.
I'm so sorry. I know I just jumped the gun on that, but I thought it was really funny them because this is, by the way, this is absolutely what girls do when they get drunk. Mm-hmm. They will 100%. I've done this. Ended up under tables telling your best friend how much you love them. Yeah. That's a thing.
I'm sure.
And it was really funny. I enjoyed it. And I really liked the moment where she sees Fitz and then Fitz gets taken. And I was like,
well, that's just the latest in the long history of them, finally getting together or being close to almost being together. It's a whole series of that. So that was a great moment because it's like, oh my God, again. But yes, I found the taking some space drugs being literally the stupidest storyline in 113 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was just like, I'm not into it. And it was such an important focal point of the episode. I did like the character development. I did like them talking to each other. But I don't think Elizabeth Henstridge and Chloe Bennett should be asked, like, can you play drunk for, 8 minutes on camera? I did like watching Quake fight drunk. That part was okay, but they had already lost me. I just was like, this is such a stupid storyline. Like, why? What is this? It made me angry, actually. I was up at like midnight watching this last night, and I'm like, are you kidding me with this? Like this, look. This is the sort of stuff you point to when you say why you don't like the show, because it's just like, oh, it's stupid. It's just they're being silly, and I didn't feel like it was strongly written, And I just it really annoyed me. I love these characters. I'm gonna like them just as much next week. But look, I'm allowed to not like this. I really disliked this episode. And sort of the other side of it, I at first was really into the Fitz and Enoch, like, basically going to the casino like Rain Man, definitely counting cards.
Yeah, I thought
I thought that was good. But then when somehow like Enoch's whole being is around being Fitz's best friend, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you're smart enough. You should know better. So like I was annoyed by the other storyline, and that one didn't really bother me. I liked watching them hang out together in general. But I was just but I did believe Fitz at the end. Do you believe Fitz at the end? Do you think he really is his best friend, at least in that, in this circumstance in his life?
Yeah, I think so. They spend a lot of time together. He's basically the one person he can rely on at this moment. Granted, he is trying to get back to the person who I think is his real best friend.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, there's something to be said for spending a lot of time with someone, and I mean, you have to bond on a certain level. So I mean,
yeah, when you're going on these kinds of adventures, it's what Enoch talks about, and I do believe that. It's like he's got an ability to approximate fun. You know what I mean? He's like, and I liked all of that. I just was like, oh my God, he's like so depressed. He's like, wait a minute, you're my best friend? I'm like, all right, Enoch, come on, he's playing you a little bit, but
needed to happen.
Yeah. So, and look, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, we're going to all be friends again next week. I don't know.
Everybody's saying boo Christian.
That's fine.
Boo Christian.
You can say boo. I was just like...
It's okay. It's usually me that they're going
at. It was painful to watch. And I like this show a lot. And I was just like not having it.
I will say this.
Thank you, Ryan.
I will say this. I'm a firm believer because there have been other episodes. To me, their drunken acting wasn't as bad as some I've seen.
No, to be absolutely honest, this is not the worst I've ever seen. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Bad, like I love Friends. I love Friends so much. But there's the one episode where Monica is drunk for her 30th birthday, and I'm just like, oh, this is bad.
So I've recently seen that one at the gym, and I recently saw Ross and Rachel get married drunk. Neither one did you feel like
so bad.
I was actually like, have they ever been drunk?
Right? You're
do they have no memories to pull from to pretend to be drunk?
No, but I really honestly think for certain things like that, just get drunk.
Yeah, right.
Like just actually get drunk or like high or whatever it is that you need to do.
See, that would have been amazing if they had like given them mushrooms.
Yeah,
and like I said, I did like them working together because Quake was having trouble quaking drunk, Yeah. So I found that to be a little entertaining, but they had lost me already.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to back down from this. I said that I was glad that I wasn't sitting in on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after show tonight because nobody wants to hear this on that after show. But
it's really fun watching them try to walk, but like kind of crawl.
Yeah, that was the worst part. That's actually the worst part for me. Them talking and being like you're my best friend sort of stuff, and it was okay. Them walking was where I was just like, ugh. It's like I wish how like you can speed up podcasts and listen to them at like 1.5 time, but you can't really do it on TV because it moves too fast. I was just like, I just want to speed this up a little bit.
Can we just get through this part because it's not good?
Anyway, so that's all right. Okay. Everybody in the chat and in the archive version, feel free to tell me how you really feel. You can tweet me at ChristianDMZ. You can say that you hate me. And you can include other people that you know like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. apparently more than I do. And you'll be like, can you believe he said, look, when we talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this Thursday on Marvel Movie News, I'm not going to pretend that I like this just because I know how much Zach likes the show. I'll be like, no, it was stupid.
No, that's what we're here for. We're here to give our honest opinions.
And you always have to give a take, and you don't just say it's stupid. You explain why it's stupid. Because saying like, yeah, this sucked, this I didn't like, that's not an actual take on something.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you why I didn't like it.
That's valid.
It made me want to get drunk. Maybe
you're like, I'm going to show you guys how to do this.
Maybe if I go buy some mushrooms and I watch the episode again, maybe like, oh my God, it was the best episode I ever saw.
Just do some acid or something.
Yeah. I have acid around the house.
Yeah.
This isn't Hawaii. Okay. You can't just go into 7-Eleven and buy meth.
I have a fun story about that. Maybe I'll tell it off the air.
Maybe we'll tell it somewhere else someday.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So we said all those things, and people hate me. That's cool. That's all right. I love everybody who's passionate about this show and all of these Marvel shows. And like I told you, I'm going to be right on board next week because I'm pretty sure we're getting Deke next week.
That's what some people in the chat are saying. I'm
very much looking forward to seeing Deke again.
And Rory Fansler says he does want honest opinions. He can get his lies from politicians. So
there you go. See, yeah. And look, that's all it is. It's like nobody has to agree with me. Literally 0 people have to agree with me. I'm just telling you how I really feel, you know. And because I typically like most things, or I can find, the redeeming quality in most things. Like I can even isolate what I like about X-Men Origins Wolverine, which came up on Marvel Movie News on Thursday, which is Liev Schreiber's great as Sabretooth. So like even like a movie that I'm like, oh, that movie is garbage, I can still find something usually. And Fitz and Enoch were great in this episode, so I was okay with that. All right, so that's enough of that right now. But we've gotten 2 deleted scenes from Captain Marvel. That'll be included on the Blu-ray and also the digital. The Blu-ray is June 11th, and the digital is actually in the next week or so. I forget the exact date, maybe the 28th. So if you're looking forward to owning the film and rewatching it, you'll get a lot of these deleted scenes. The first one is it's a bunch of Kree kids and just some playful co-worker banter with Brie Larson and Jude Law, which is okay, but it's a completely unnecessary scene. I think they do a better job explaining the Supreme Intelligence in that first deleted scene. But again, you don't need it in the movie. But I thought that the Kree kids were cute, even if they all are going to grow up and be intergalactic terrorists, depending on how you view the Kree-Skrull War.
They're small and they're cute when they're small.
Right, exactly.
They're cute when they're little.
Yeah.
It's like baby chicks that grow into chickens. Yeah. Chickens are not cute, but baby chicks are adorable.
Yeah. But then we got another clip over the weekend, which it's an extended version of Carol is basically looking at a map, and this guy pulls up. And we have a still, actually, Ryan. Yeah, that's from it right there. I meant to ask you to pull this from the email that I sent. I sent a screen grab to the AfterBuzz email, but it is this scene right here. And if you don't find it, it'll be okay, but I'll just keep talking about it. So it's that scene. If you've seen the movie, you should remember it. And the way the scene plays out in the film as it was released, I think works really well. You know, she's there looking at the map. This guy's like, hey, how about a smile? And she just kind of looks at him, puts the map up. And then the next thing we know, she's stolen his motorcycle and his jacket too, I think.
Yeah, it's funny.
And like a sweet Nine Inch Nails t-shirt, which came off of a mannequin. So, you know, apparently her name should be Brie Larceny. I just thought of that now. It was terrible. But yeah, so... And then in the thank you for humoring me. And so in the deleted version of the scene, which you'll see a screen grab right here if you're looking on YouTube, she really engages this guy who tells her to smile. And I've had it pointed out to me many times that is a thing that men will tell women all the time. And it's sort of like, it is one of those things that it's just like, you know, me as a man, I can never understand how often women get told things like that. And look, this came up on the Twilight Zone after show, and like my two female panelists are like, you know, that's a thing, right? I'm like, oh, I get it, but I didn't understand the extent to which it was.
So no one's ever said that to me.
Because they know you're not capable of smiling.
Is it? That's what it is.
Yeah,
they look at me and they're just like this.
Yeah. It's because you have resting despair face.
That's what it is. Yeah. I've had people tell me I have a nice smile, but like I've never had a guy walk up to me and be like, "You should smile." Like
I think they're afraid you might cut them.
Maybe.
And you know what? Here's the thing too: is I like when the guy says to Carol like, "Nice scuba suit." It's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. She looks like she's wearing a scuba suit. Good for you, buddy. But so then he engages her and. You know, she responds, and it's okay. So first of all, it's bad writing because he's like, they call me the Don. I'm like, that's just stupid. You know, that one line bothered me more than what I just said about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, they call me the Don. I'm like, nobody calls you that, bro. So
nobody says that.
And then the way it plays out is basically she's like, how about a handshake? And she zaps him. And we know how powerful she is, even with that little inhibitor chip.
Yeah.
So this is a human, non-powered. Yeah, look, he's a dick. I'm not saying that's not true. She's absolutely right. Good for her for stealing his stuff. But like, you're gonna zap this guy? And look, she didn't like hurt him. I guess it's like a, you know, I don't know. It's like a joy buzzer or something. And you know, and then she basically, you know, she could very well have broken a thumb or something. You know, you feel like that's, you know, she threatens him. So this is hardly heroic behavior is what I'm saying. So Xia, I know your feelings on Captain Marvel, the character, the movie, all across the board. Tell our audience what you thought of this scene.
Oh, I mean, it's so cringy. It's so cringy and just unnecessary. And yeah, she's a very superpowered character, and he's just some dude. So like doing that really, it's not heroic, and it's not standing up for yourself it's just, you already know you could squash him like a bug. He's just nothing to you. So that's just, I don't know. It's silly.
Now, do women who've seen that, or at least hear what we're describing, do you feel like, well, no, but she's standing up for women. And, you know, there are times that we as women would have liked to have zapped the guy who said that. You know, we're not killing anybody.
No, I'll tell you the story that to me is standing up for women. This is one of my favorite stories. When I read it, I was dying. It was amazing. There was I think it was in Brazil. There was a female UFC fighter. I can't remember her name. If you look back up on the story, she some guy tried to rob her, tried to take her cell phone down in Brazil, because I know that happens down there a lot. There's a lot of rough areas, and someone tried to rob, and she beat this guy so badly that you see pictures of him, and I mean, his face was a wreck, like bloody nose, cut, like he was messed up. One of my favorite stories in the whole world.
Yeah,
that right there. This is just nonsense.
Right. Well, you know, and look, I'm just trying to get the perspective, you know, everyone's perspective on this. And people are already so predisposed to dislike Captain Marvel and dislike Brie Larson that I was aware that this scene existed because I was reading people posting about on Twitter as to how it's the embodiment of why they won't see the movie, which I was just like, all right, I mean, the movie is much better than this scene. Even Zia, you didn't like it. I think you would agree that the movie is better than this scene.
And I didn't not like it. It just was not. It was just flat. It was flat for me. It
Sure.
was just not. It wasn't one of my favorite movies. But yeah, I would still never. I'm always gonna go see it.
Sure.
Like the movie has to be really bad for me to not see it.
And then that leads to sort of the question that I posed in the beginning. Like, we hear so much about toxic masculinity and how often that gets thrown around. Is this, I'm posing a question to Zia and also to the audience, is this toxic femininity? Is that what she's doing here? By just like, hey, bro, you're being a dick. I'm going to use my cosmic powers that, by the way, come from an infinity stone, even though I don't realize it yet. You know? So it's like, hey, I'm going to like 1/5 Thanos you right now. But I don't know. What do you think this says about, about the way people feel about Captain Marvel? Does this feed into that narrative is, I guess, what I'm asking you, Zia?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it certainly isn't helping for people that already kind of feel that way. It's not. It's
not going to win you over.
It's not going to win you over. I think that for sure. I don't think that going to that length is necessary for someone who's just talking to you like kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Like, you can just talk back or ignore him. You know what I mean? There are other ways to. It's not like he tried to touch her or grab her, or if that was the case, then
no,
absolutely, that would have been
any kind
awesome.
of contact. Like, if she had flipped him over, that would have been pretty amazing.
Yeah, if he like even remotely touched her, just done. But I think we're all like in this. We're all harboring under the false delusion that everyone is good and that there aren't going to be jerks or douchebags or just bad people in the world, regardless of. I don't think it's toxic masculinity. I think that guy's just a dick.
Yeah.
And no matter what, those people are always going to be out there.
Look, that movie's set in 1995, and we didn't have the term toxic masculinity then, but we definitely had guys who were dicks.
We did. But it's really funny. I was just watching a movie the other day I think it came out in 94. Did you ever see The Jackal with Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
And I love that movie.
I'm not going to lie, I like most things with Bruce Willis.
Dude.
Even Hudson Hawk. I like most everything with Bruce Willis.
It was just great. And then Richard Gere, too. But I noticed that in that movie, there was a really strong female character who wasn't like, oh, she was not here because she's hot. She's not here because she was beautiful. She ended up being here. It was just weird, like, watching that back in the 90s. And I was like, you know what? I feel like this is always kind of been a thing. We're making a mountain out of a molehill, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think.
And I'm not saying that there isn't maybe instances where it happens or things that I'm not saying that there aren't victims out there, but I just really think that we're taking things a little bit too far, and we're naming things as a whole like toxic masculinity, and we're just throwing these terms out there for things that we don't like.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily apply.
And to be honest, I'm throwing toxic femininity around because I think that the concept of toxic masculinity I'm not even saying that, that you're not on the right track with that, but I think it's a little overblown. So I think that's why I thought it was kind of funny to throw that out there. But I think that for multiple reasons, we can see why this scene was cut from the movie. I mean, why that scene it works so well in the movie that she just is like, that guy's a jerk, I'm going to steal his stuff.
Yeah, see, that's
and I was
fine.
like, yeah, that guy kind of was a jerk, so whatever, he'll file an insurance claim, it'll be fine, he'll get his, I didn't really think about him stealing her stealing his jacket, but that's fine. Maybe he left it on the, on the.
He left it on the bike.
Yeah, exactly.
She took the bike. She took the jacket. That was great. Yeah, that was just unnecessary, I think.
Anyway, we dealt with a lot of alien races this week, and before we go, we wanted to delve into our top 3 aliens, and this will be in the Marvel universe. So, Zia, we will try to do these from 3 to 1, but we're sort of doing this conversationally, kind of on the spot. So we won't hold you to this in a court of law. But Zia, Zia,
I know.
As we start with a number 3, who do you think is your number 3 alien?
I like Mantis. I love Mantis.
I do love Mantis. Yeah.
She's pretty great.
Or as Rocket calls her, the chick with the antenna. Yeah.
After in Endgame, by the way, where he's been with her
He's
for
been
how long?
Yeah, well, yeah, and because Guardians 2 it's established that it's been a few years from Guardians 2 to Infinity War. So he's been around with her maybe just as long as he was with almost everybody else.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Rocket. He's kind of like made in a lab, so I'm not going to characterize him. But I'm going to go with number 3. And boy, is it a tough choice. But this is kind of a bold choice for me, and it's only because of Endgame. I'm going to go with Nebula.
Ooh.
Because there wasn't much to that character beforehand. And I just was really impressed with how important she was and just how deep the character actually is, the cinematic version of her. So, that's my number 3.
I think that's a good one. I like Nebula. Okay. Number 2 is going to have to be Drax.
Okay.
He was always one of my favorites, just even in the first one. I was like, this is amazing. He's so blunt. I love it. He makes me laugh probably more than any of the other characters.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a real concept as to what humor is.
He has no idea.
He's
like, I've mastered the art of not being seen. How long have you been saying there? 1 hour. This is so good.
Yeah. So for number 2 for me, this is sort of my number 1, but I feel like we don't get enough of him on the big screen, is Howard the Duck. He's trapped in a world he never made.
Very nice.
I think if we had gotten the MCU Howard the Duck movie, maybe when we have his animated show, maybe he can move up to number 1. But I do love Howard the Duck. So he's number 2 for me.
You know, it's really bad. I'm like really, really trying hard to think of a number 1 that's like not
from the
Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, actually,
I'm having a really, really hard time.
This is hard because all of our characters have been Guardians or Guardians adjacent.
Yeah.
These are all from those movies.
Because those are mostly, what other aliens are we really
getting?
We
have Krees, we have Skrull, we have,
right.
When you think about some of the characters we meet in Infinity War.
Oh, I did love Ben Mendelsohn. What was his character's name?
Oh, his Skrull character was great. Yeah, I actually forget his sorry.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, you guys. This is completely escaping me right now. But I did love him.
Yeah.
He was great.
So he's your number 1?
I'm going to say he's my number 1.
Yeah. Well,
I think mostly because of Ben Mendelsohn.
Look, I'm just gonna stick with the Guardians because it has to be Groot for me. I just love Groot.
Groot is great.
So
Groot is great.
so you have Ben Mendelsohn's character that I know.
Talos, is that his name?
Yeah, actually, I think you're right.
Thank you,
thank
Ivan.
you. Yeah. And Groot. So so we've got.
Rory. Sorry,
What?
I'm so sorry. Thor is an alien. Duh.
Yeah, I thought about that, but to me, he's a god. I know
You're
that.
right.
I
He's
know
a
in
god,
the
I guess.
movies he's an alien, and they have Asgard as a planet, but. I have to just separate that from the way I think of Thor from the comics, that he is the god of thunder and Asgard is a realm and all of that. But yes, technically, I would have to give skinny Thor number 1, fat Thor number 2.
Boom. Yes.
And then I don't know which Thor number 3, but yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, so those are some of our favorites. So we had Mantis and Nebula at number 3, Drax and Howard the Duck at 2, and then Talos and Groot at 1. Let us know what you think in the chat if you're watching the archive version. Let us know who your 3 favorite aliens are. And here's the thing, too. We could do this again next week, and then we'll come up with a completely different answer.
Absolutely true. Yes.
Speaking of next week, I will not be here on Sunday because I will be in New Orleans hanging out with Ty and Tandy.
He's leaving me for Cloak and
Ty
Dagger.
and Tandy,
Yeah.
and maybe Mayhem will be there, but Zia will be here, and she will be talking about the Cloak and Dagger season 2 finale. Our friend Steph Sabra will join you either here on the panel, maybe she'll produce the show, but either way, she's on the Cloak and Dagger after show, which I think you find Thursday nights at 10, maybe, here at AfterBuzz. I'm just guessing. But Thursday nights, for sure, at AfterBuzz, you can find the Cloak and Dagger after show, and she's on that. So you can look for her there. And I'll be back 2 weeks from tonight, which, by the way, at that point, we will have seen Dark Phoenix. 2 weeks from tonight, we
So
will
we're
have
gonna
already
get to
seen
talk
it.
about
So we'll get
that.
to talk about that, and we will talk about the comic book Dark Phoenix. So Zia, you will need to
I'm
read.
only like 25 pages in. I need to get going.
That's more than one issue because comics were only 17 pages back then. Anyway,
There you go.
so that's your programming note for the next 2 weeks. So if you hated my take on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you won't have to hear it next week.
We'll just talk about how much I liked it.
Yeah, exactly. But then there'll be another episode too. So you'll have seen episode 4 by then, and you'll finally get to meet Deke. But until then, Zia, where do people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zia_Land. That's spelled XIA_Land. And on Facebook at Zia Landerson. Also, you can find Christian and I both on Marvel Movie News on our sister network, The Popcorn Talk, Thursdays at 1 p.m.
And Ryan lets me know that Cloak and Dagger is 8 p.m. Thursdays here on AfterBuzz TV. That's 8 p.m.
Ryan.
Pacific. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. And Tuesday nights, I do the Chernobyl after show. And this Thursday afternoon at 3 Pacific, we'll be doing the season finale of The Twilight Zone at a special time because I'm getting on a plane to go to New Orleans. Anyway, that is all the time we have for this week. But until next week, Excelsior!
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.